Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is a rainy day today, but at least it's warm out. However, over the next few days it's cooling down and going below freezing. Yesterday was a really nice sunny day, so I spent all afternoon descaling ficus trees. I got 3 trees done. One was my tropical style ficus and it took a long time. It took about an hour and a half scraping, spraying, scraping, checking, rechecking. But I got it all clean of scale, so I was glad to get that done on a nice sunny day. Here's a look at the medium leaf ficus Benjamina that took a lot of my time yesterday afternoon. It took, like I said, a good hour and a half to get all the scale off it. So I scraped all the blisters off all the branches and the leaves, sprayed it, checked it again, found more, sprayed and scraped. And so I think I've got them all off the tree. But I'll keep my eye on it. I'll keep checking, and it's a good thing to spray it every 3 or 4 days for a couple of weeks, and that'll kill any of those insects that are crawling, and your scale problem should go away. I've got some more ficus moved out here. I have my tiger bark ficus, the one that's in the Vietnam style pot, the kind of root over rock. So it's really grown since the last video where I cut it back hard. So that's good to see. That one also had a fair amount of scale on it, so I had to work on that for quite a while. I brought my mistletoe ficus out into the greenhouse here. This one was free of scale, and you can see the new growth coming in on it. There's all kinds of new berries or fruits that I'll have to take off, so all my energy goes into growth of the tree. I also got rid of the scale on my ficus microcarpa, the one I call plain. It had quite a bit of scale on it, so I scraped that all off, sprayed the tree down. I brought out my ficus Elastica forest. Here it is here. This is the back of the forest. I'm really liking this forest. I didn't expect to like it. I thought after I created it, I thought, oh, it's kind of a waste of a nice pot with just ficus Elastica. But as it's growing in and getting more branches, I'm really liking it. The leaves, you know, they're still big, but they're reasonable. And these are indoor leaves. So I think they'll get smaller. You can see how small they are in some of these trees. But, you know, it'll always be a challenge to get the leaf size down. But I just like the color of them. They get the bright red sheaths on them. The nice dark green leaves. I think they're cool. So I'm looking forward to continuing to develop this forest. I'm really liking it. I also brought my clump style ficus elastica planting out here. So as these trunks grow, I'm hoping they all start to kind of fuse in with each other. The leaves on this one are fairly large. Hasn't been pruned in a while, so. But yeah, I really like the trees. My American elm is coming into leaf quite nicely. I sprayed this one with the soap and water earlier before the leaves were coming out. So sort of like, you know, before there's much bud activity. So maybe that killed some more of those insects because they're coming out quite nice. I think there's a few leaves that are a little deformed. But basically it's looking quite nice. So I'm hoping for a good year growth on this. Last year wasn't so good. The leaves are all kind of bumpy and it didn't get very vigorous. So hopefully this year I'll get a good season out of it. I'm starting to get some activity on my European buckthorn, the one I collected from the front garden. You can see there's green leaves coming out on this shoot here. Hope you can see that. Yeah, so that should be coming out into leaf soon, hopefully. My ash tree, it also is getting some activity on the buds up here. I can see tiny leaves forming. So that's good. I'm hoping this one survives quite nicely too. I think it will. I wanted to do some work on my Yucca Forest today. I want to get rid of all the dead leaves up in the canopy, clean it out a bit, get a little more light to some of these trees down low. Got all these dead leaves blocking the light. So that's what I'll do next. I'll work on the Yucca Forest. I'm ready to begin work on the Yucca Forest. I hope you can hear me okay because I've got the heater on. It's going down to 2 degrees above freezing tonight, so I want to keep it warm as possible. All right, I'm ready to begin work. So I'm going to start by peeling off the dead leaves. Just start with the bottom ones and just peel back, pull down on them, and they come off. And they're just dried up leaves. So I'll do that for all the trees, and that's probably all I'll be doing today on them. Just getting rid of the dead lower leaves. Getting it ready for the big pruning that will be coming. Now you have to be careful of these leaves on the yucca. They are like razor saws. They're very sharp. If you run your finger along here, it's like a saw blade. So be very careful. You can cut your skin open very easily on them. Now I noticed that the yucca has a little scale on it too. I don't know if you can see the leaf, but there's a few little scale blisters on the leaves. So I'll have to spray it and clean off the scale blisters also. I'm getting quite good at removing scale now. I've had lots of practice over the years. Oh, I see a new shoot coming out on the yucca right here, a green shoot. That's exciting. Half the battle is figuring out what is the lowest leaf. I'm pulling down, getting rid of them. This Yucca Forest is another forest that I planted, and I thought, oh, am I wasting my time with this forest? It's a Yucca Forest. But I'm really happy with it. It's developing really nicely, and it's certainly unique. I've never seen another Yucca Forest, I don't think. Now there are other Yucca Bonsai that I've seen, mainly from Mexico, and some really nice ones too. Mine has no ramification compared to some of the ones I've seen. They are, fully developed crowns on them. Now they are larger trees, but still very nice examples in the world of Yucca Bonsai. Slowly getting there. I kind of finished the front trees. I think I'll turn the planting around so I can get to the back ones. It's quite a heavy planting, this too. There's all the dead leaves at the back. Okay, that'll make it easier. Okay, keep going, pulling leaves. In order of lowest first, going up to the higher ones. So it's a busy weekend coming up in the bonsai community in this area. There's 2 pottery workshops going on, one by Ray and one by Wayne. So very interesting, and I have my Brazilian rain tree workshop coming up, and there's still 2 openings for it. So I put a post on the social community page on the channel that has an email that you can sign up for it if you're in the Hamilton area. So it should be quite fun, quite a fun and busy weekend. I also have a native plant sale coming up on the Saturday morning, so I am going to be busy. I'm removing some of the lower leaves that are going a bit yellowy too. They're almost ready to die off. I need to get light to these smaller trees in the back here. I don't want them getting shaded out by the big tall trees. Yeah, so here's some of the yellow leaves I'm pulling off. You can see how yellow they are. They were ready to dry up. So I'm removing those to get more light into the planting, to eventually develop all those back buds. which I hope will come. There's another yellow one I can take off here. You can also see the scale on it. There's little dots all over it. The scale on it, so that's not good. Okay, just a few more leaves and I will be done removing all the dead and weak leaves off the yuccas. I think just checking for more yellow leaves. Here's another one that can come off. That one's starting, it's half yellow, half green. The rest are looking pretty good. I think that is it. So here is what I took off today. Quite a pile of leaves. So I better check those outside because they have scale insects on them. Before I turn the forest around, I'm going to spray the back of it with the soap and water. You can see the scale insects in here. Kind of going a bit hollow, I think, the trunk here. Yeah. Interesting. I imagine eventually it'll kind of heal around. This trunk is really solid. There's no dead wood on it at all. This was probably my best yucca tree. The one back here had a really nice kind of solid base to it. Some low branching, which is kind of nice. But the bigger one's the larger one, but I noticed it's getting a bit of dead wood in the back. But the live wood is all the way around it, so it's only, I think only this section of it is dead wood here. So it might heal itself in the future. I'm sure it will. All right, I'll get the soap and water, begin the descaling procedure. All right, I'm going to spray the tree down first with the soap and water. The trees, the forest. Getting all the leaves. And get up underneath the trees. And once I've finished the back, I'll turn it around and work on the front. So that's a good spray down. So I'll get my scissors and I'll start scraping all the scale blisters off. You wouldn't think scale would like these kind of hard leaves, but they do. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the back. I'm going to turn the forest around now and work on the front face. All right. Here I go. There. Now, I'll give that a spray. I don't see many scale up front here at all. Okay, and that should be good for the spraying. I'm just going to check there's no blisters all over these leaves. There's one here. Most of them are really good. A couple on that leaf. Okay, I think that's all good. I'm just having a last look, thinking it's looking good. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. All right, time to rinse the tree off. Rinse it down, flush all the soil out, so I'll get the watering can. All right, here I go with the rinse. Now, I think because it's raining out and I've got lots of rainwater, I'm going to run another 2 liters over the forest just to make sure all that soap's washed away. All right, here I go with another 2 liters of water, fresh rainwater, which I think is good for the trees. They've been inside all winter and you kind of water them very carefully. And I think, you know, to flush the soil out with fresh rainwater is good. I think it's like getting, you know, a good rain. I think it's really good for the trees and the soil. Here's a look at the Yucca Forest now. Cleaned up, ready to grow. And then, when it looks like it's nice and vigorous, it's going to get cut back hard. You know, down to stumps, into the woody section. And hopefully new shoots will come out, and I will seal the cuts. It's important on yuccas to seal the cuts, otherwise they dry back, or they die back. They also dry back. They get dry and they just get crispy, so you've got to seal them. And last time I used the white carpenter's glue on it, and that worked really well, so I'll probably use the same technique. Yeah, so a very, very interesting forest. One I really like. I think they're cool trees. And the older they get, the better they get. They start to look really, really cool. While I think of it, I'm going to prune the fruit off the Mistletoe Ficus before it takes too much of the energy away from the tree. Is that it? I think there's 3. There's one back here. So there's 4 fruits on it. Oh, 5, 6. Wow, that's a lot of fruit. Now, last time I defruited it, I did miss one, I noticed on the video. So maybe that was that large one there. So there's 4 new fruit have grown in since the last video. So that should do it. So you can see there's growth tips all over that are coming out now. Some new leaves. So it'll be in a growth phase now that it's outside. Let's head into the glass greenhouse, and I want to show you my Pyrenean Oaks, the ones that Dave sent me from Blue Sky Bonsai. Let's have a look at the leaves on them. You may hear all the crows in the background in some of my videos. So Tom from the YouTube channel Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors sent me a crow statue. Kind of cool. So thanks, Tom. It's awesome. I'm beginning to get more buds popping out on my very first bonsai, my Ficus microcarpa, which is exciting. There's a few leaves coming out here. There's green buds coming out all over the branches, so very excited. I can't wait to see what kind of budding I get on the tree. Sorry, I got distracted there. The reason we came in the greenhouse was to look at the Pyrenean Oaks. I'm always surprised when you plant seeds off one species of a tree, the variety you get in leaf sizes, leaf shapes, growth rates of the trees. Every seed is different, just like children are different. And sometimes you get some really special ones. And I'll show you the Pyrenean Oaks that I got from David. Here's a look at the 4 Pyrenean Oaks. So this one is really special. Check out the leaves on it. They're almost like fern leaves. They're just incredible. So that's my favorite of them. I shouldn't have favorites, but that one is the most interesting, I think. And then the next one, it has more, they're more oak-like leaves. You know, less lacy than these ones. And then if I go to this one's even more, you know, like a regular English oak. It doesn't have the real fern-like leaves of that one. And this one is just coming out. It's a late bloomer. So yeah, that's the 4 different Pyrenean Oaks, and they all are different. And that one's really special. That one's really cool. I'll show you the regular English oak, or the Royal Oaks I have, just to compare the leaves. So that's the leaves on the Pyrenean Oaks. And over here, well, up here is the English Oaks. So you can see they're not too far different, but they're definitely not as lacy as the that one anyway. They're more smooth and rounded. So yeah, this is probably the closest one to an English oak. This one's in between, and this one's super fancy. So this one will be the one I keep, and I may give away the others. My last count of my Royal Oaks here, I have 29 of them that have germinated. So that's pretty good. Nothing in these pots, and I was digging around in these pots, and I think that's the seed, and it doesn't look very good. I think it just rotted away over the winter. Maybe I kept them too wet. I don't know. It was good bonsai soil, but yeah, those ones, nothing's come up in these pots yet. So The looser soil here has done really well over there. These are the Bur Oaks. I think they're Bur Oaks. A different kind of acorn. I'm hoping they come up because the parent tree was really interesting. Yeah, so that's the Royal Oaks. They're coming along nicely. The two Holly Oaks are also alive. You can see the one is doing really well here. The other one started going brown in the winter, but it still has green on it. And I'm hopeful that it slowly gains strength and maybe buds out. I hope. Anyway, if not, I have one that's doing really well. The Toronto Bonsai Society has a spring show and sale coming up in May, and I was thinking of submitting a tree. I've never had a tree in the Toronto Bonsai Show, so this, if it gets accepted, would be my first. So I've got to pick out a tree that I think would look really good in the show. I was thinking my African-style Sarissa might be a good choice to submit for the show. It's something different. I think it's not fully developed, but it's getting well developed. And it's an interesting tree, and you don't see too many Sarissas in shows. So that might be a possibility. At the show, you get a nice photograph taken of your tree. So it would be kind of nice to have, you know, a professional quality photograph of the tree. Something to maybe look back on someday. Maybe hopefully say, boy, the tree's gotten a lot better since then. Or worst case scenario, oh, I remember that tree. It was looking quite nice. Another possibility is my ficus here. My very first ficus. I don't know if I've ever had this in a show. Maybe I have. Maybe a club show, maybe. But, you know, by the time May comes along, I think the leaves will just be growing in, and it might look quite nice. I don't know. Another possibility is the larch forest down here. That could look quite nice. Even my bog forest down here could look pretty cool if I, you know, tidied it up nicely. So there's a lot of possibilities. I'll definitely try and submit a tree for the show. My wife gave me a prickly pear cactus that I'm trying to root. I hope it does well. We'll see. Cleaning insects off your trees isn't the most glamorous job in the world. It's like watering. It's one of those things that's very important to the health of your tree. But most people don't make videos of cleaning insects off their bonsai. But I think it's really important. I think, you know, it's pest management is part of growing bonsai, and it's something you have to get good at for your bonsai to do well into the far future. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.